There it goes. Okay, welcome. We have some new folks on. Chandler, Robert, Betsy, welcome. We do have this mode where feel free to, you should be able to use your microphone, you should be able to use video. You can use the chat as well. We'll kind of monitor everything. This will be a bit more of an interactive session than just a presentation today than what we're used to, just because of the topic. But before we go through that, let me get to the agenda. And let me do, I'm not used to using Google Docs to do, but let's see if this shares. Yeah, that looks okay. Does that look okay to you all? Yeah, okay. Thank you. So we'll go through our house rules and introduction. We have some slides of other events going on as well that we'll walk through, recap a bit of the scorecard, talk about some of the results and patterns, and probably only get to maybe a 30-day. I don't think we'll have time for both 30 and 90, and then kind of wrap up and also talk about some potential other topics. We'll have a form at the end where you can submit some ideas of new topics. So that's our agenda for today. We have 2 days left for the Adobe Champion program for Adobe Commerce. So if anyone hasn't applied yet, there's a QR code. I'll leave it on the screen for just a bit for you to complete that by June 5th. And again, we got some champions on the call today. It's a great network to be a part of, and be able to share your thoughts, but also to connect to other champions and other leaders, in their respective companies who are using Adobe, and get to learn from. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Both I know Ingrid, Ryan are in the champion program. Are there others on the call who are currently in the champion program? That might be it.
There. Michael is. Yeah.
Awesome. So feel free to reach out to any of them with questions on that. But applications close soon, so make sure to get yours in if you want to apply. Speaking of, there's champion office hours. I think this is June 23rd is the next one that's coming up, if I remember correctly. So again, there is a champion office hours Adobe Commerce user group. That QR code will get you to that link. Or if you just go to the Commerce user groups, you'll see the champion office hours group, and you can join that way as well. But I encourage you to do that. Also a plug for Experience League. And I will say, I think the commerce side has continually gotten better on the Experience League for commerce material. But a lot of good material here, some training for the different AI aspects, product courses, documentation. They actually do a pretty good job with documentation release notes when it comes to commerce there. There's a whole community, Experience League community, where you can chat with other people that are on the community, peer-authored perspective articles, events, so on and so forth. So again, another QR code, check that out if you're interested. There are some regional Adobe summits. I know we have, this is virtual USA, all these are international, but if you have counterparts in other countries, actually I have part of the team in London that I'm going to be having to go to the London event there. So London, Germany, Australia, something for everyone. Now, getting to our specific commerce user group house rules. So again, we won't be self-promoting. Ask that you don't do so either. As far as contacting people outside the group, again, we'll share our emails that you can reach us, but just make sure to get permission from people with contacting them and not solicit product and that sort of thing. And then again, if this time is more of a collaboration discussion, but in some cases we'll be sharing use cases and such specific or proprietary to our company. Again, just make sure to get those people's permission before using that outside of this group. We are recording. I did say that before I turned that on. Again, if you don't want to be recorded, you can drop off. This will be posted on YouTube, and you'll be able to see that YouTube recording in the recorded session. Again, you can contact me if you want more information on that. And then again, there are different chapters of Commerce. This is the Virtual USA user group. You can get to it via the link that is here. You do need to click the join in the chapter if you want to get updates for new events that we have. So again, the people here have probably already done that, given that you're on the event, but you can register for individual events without joining the group, which is why I say it. So make sure that you join the group via the link here, and then you'll receive notifications for updates that are coming through. Okay, your user group leaders. I'll introduce myself because there are some new people on the call today, and then I'll pass it over to my counterparts. So Mike Totilla, I work at Xerox as the director of e-business. That includes commerce as well as some other areas of business. Actually, Xerox acquired Lexmark a year ago, and I come from the acquisition, having worked at Lexmark for 20 years, and are now trying to figure out how we merge all of these environments, including commerce, into to one big happy Xerox family. Ingrid, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, I'm Ingrid Gutson. I'm the director of e-commerce at Clampett Paper. We are a wholesale paper company located in Texas, but we have about 22 locations in the Southwest US. I have been with Adobe now for almost 5 years, working with Adobe Commerce. And before then, I've been in e-commerce for 20 plus years, probably almost 30 years now, but working on a number of different platforms on a big tech stack with multiple different things. So that's kind of my background. And Ryan, I'll let you talk.
Hey, I'm Ryan Sun. I'm a Magento architect in ISIN. We are a industrial supply and tools distributor. I think we are the largest independent supplier network in US. And recently we had gone through a merge to we are acquired by NOD, which is another distributor. So now that's two companies we are merging into one that we don't have a name yet. I suggest them to call Nissan. I don't know if they will take that. But I maintain the Magento platform for the B2B use case for the company. We use Magento to spin up like, I think 12 instances or so. And each instance would hold like multiple, like 2 or 3 stores. So quite a bit of number. And now as we are merging more companies, we have Magento integrated with multiple ERP and WMS system as well. And that's majority part of the responsibility of our team to connect, to do the integration between e-commerce and backend offices systems.
Awesome. Thank you, Ingrid and Ron. So again, some different backgrounds, different types of companies, different roles we have in those companies. So try to give you some good perspective. Again, we encourage audience participation in these sessions, and especially today, it's a bit more of an audience participation than a presentation. Yeah, welcome everyone, and thank you for introducing yourselves. My screens are reversed to what they normally are. So there he goes. My mouse, having a hard time getting from one screen to another. Okay, so for the topic of today, we're talking about Agent Ready, and I wanted to spend a couple of slides to talk about what does Agent Ready mean and give you a little bit of a detail and background on why this is something that all of us should be focused on. It's a bit comforting, I think, in the beginning with our icebreaker question, are we agent ready? No, kind of none of us are at this point in time. We're all kind of starting off at the same place, but it's something that we all know we need to focus on. So ultimately, this agent ready is really a term that is used to describe, from a commerce perspective, that AI agents can understand your products, pricing, availability, and ultimately reliably purchase products on behalf of those that they are representing. So commerce actions such as purchasing can be completed through structured interfaces, that things like identity and permissions and business rules are clearly modeled for these agents to be able to follow. Analytics and experimentation are supporting the ongoing optimization of this agent interface, and that there are things such as governance and brands controls in place to reduce risk and to represent our brands the way that we want them to, in these audience-enabled interfaces. So this is kind of what we're talking about today, and we worked in the background on the scorecard that we'll kind of bring up and talk about in just a minute, to kind of assess, what do we think are the different areas of agent readiness when it comes to commerce, and to be able to kind of assess ourselves. And again, that's what we'll discuss today, of where we're most ready and where we're least ready. And for myself, I'll share some of that, but there are definitely areas where I feel like we're pretty close, and then there's some areas where we're pretty far away from, being ready in some of those areas. Okay, still trying to find my other screen. There it is. So for AI agents, so again, I think we all know that the shift is already not just coming, but it's already happening. So this is AI. Leveraging AI as a user assistant is definitely something that is happening today, where people are purchasing, having purchase experience through whatever the MCP connection of their choice is. Whether that be a Copilot or OpenAI or Gemini, any of the others. So agents are evolving from assisting shoppers to acting on their behalf. This is kind of the big shift that's happening right now. It's not just that they're recommending products, but in a lot of cases, they're actually doing the purchasing, and that's going to increase. And we'll get to that in the adoption numbers below. So this really, for us, represents a new channel. It's not a new feature. It's not just a new payment type that we need to have on our checkout. It is a new channel that we need to consider of how people are going to purchase from us. And again, it's a similar shift to web and mobile commerce that we had before, from retail to web, and from just plain web to mobile. Completely new channel that we need to adapt for as we go forward. And then commerce actions, can be completed reliably through structured interfaces, but it's our role to make sure that these structured interfaces exist for our companies. And again, this is an Adobe Commerce user group, so leveraging Adobe Commerce for the vast majority of us to be able to do that, and some of the capabilities there. I did some research. Again, I'll send these slides out in the speaker notes here. You can see a lot of the sources for these, but 69% of consumers have already started using AI for online shopping. That was a bit surprising to me that it was that high. Somewhere between 40 and 50% of shoppers are actively using AI tools for their shopping today. Some of these are from different sources, so you'll see a little bit of differences in the data, but these numbers are higher than what I would have thought that they would be at this point. 30 to 45% of consumers use AI to research products before buying. That one I would have felt pretty accurate about in my guess, but some of the others of actually using shopping being higher. AI-driven traffic to retail sites have grown 4,700% year over year. So that's amazing to see, and also again for us, kind of changes the game. I don't know about you all, but we're seeing definitely a big shift in traffic patterns from individuals coming to sites from SEO type results, to bots coming to the site and individuals finding that information that they were looking for now through the agents or through the LLM interfaces, instead of directly coming into the site. So different things we need to look at. And then 23% of consumers have already made a purchase using AI. Just out of interest, I'll be honest, I have not purchased anything through any of the AI interfaces. Anybody here purchased anything using any of the LLM interfaces? No Ingrid, no Ryan.
No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust AI to place order for me yet without human in the loop, but I would definitely interested to see what's behind this number, what kind of
Yeah.
user group they are taking
I think
this.
we know too much, right? We're a bit more skeptical of these sorts of things at this point. But yeah, 23% of consumers made a purchase using AI. It's surprising to me, and again, something that emphasizes the need for us to kind of prepare for this.
Definitely
A
use
couple
AI
more.
to do shopping discovery and landing me to the shopping site for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. A couple more reasons. So again, in the future, AI agents are going to drive a meaningful share of commerce. So again, these are kind of future forward prediction type numbers. But if you look at just during peak 2025 period, so things like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, AI agents influence. So this isn't necessarily purchase, but influence 20% of global retail transactions. Again, for last year, that would have been a surprise to me. It was that high. I would have probably guessed, by this year, maybe it's in that. So it's growing at faster rates than at least from my perspective, what I would consider that to be. And then AI-driven commerce could represent 10 to 20% of e-commerce spend by 2030. It's 4 years from now. It seems like that should be much further away than 4 years from now, but that's a big percentage. And so when you think about if you lost 20% of your commerce revenue in the next 4 years, that would be a big deal. So that's why we need to prepare for this. And then overall, the global impact is projected at $3 to $5 trillion in commerce influenced by AI agents. And again, this is in the future state where agents will be empowered to make buying decisions on behalf of users. Some of this is consumers, but a lot of this is B2B, right? You're going to see B2B agents that have knowledge of what products and such they need to buy, and they're going to be looking for good prices from locations that can get them the products at the time frame that they need them, and they're going to be empowered to make those orders. And we need our systems to be able to support those. So just kind of the overall, before we get into the scorecard implication, the first customer in the funnel is increasingly an AI agent, not a human. Now, again, I don't think that's the majority at this point, but I think we're moving towards a point in time where that will be a majority, and something that we need to take into consideration. And so if we want to be winners in this space, we need to be discoverable first by AI. We need to be trusted through our structured data sets, and we need to have transactable APIs that these systems can use in order to make purchases on behalf of those who are employing them. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a why, because even for me, again, it's is this really something that we need to prepare for, so on and so forth. And again, I did a lot of research coming up to this, and it is, it's growing and will continue to grow, and will be something that if we're not prepared for it, our competitors are going to be the ones who are winning out. Ingrid, Ron, anything to add for why before we switch into a little bit of our scorecard?
I don't.
Well, go ahead, Ingrid.
I was just saying I don't. That was great. There are some numbers on there and data that I didn't know, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I would just want to say the whys are, I think it's obvious to everyone, and people are legitimately concerning about AI making people not going to their e-commerce website, and that may very well be true in a couple of years, that a storefront is not really necessary anymore with everything driven by agent and placing orders in LLM. So like you said, if you don't prepare for that, then we are losing 20, maybe 40 or 100% of the revenue in this channel. So there's no reason we don't get prepared for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so transition a little bit to the Agent Ready scorecard. So again, collaboratively offline, we kind of put together a scorecard where we felt were the different areas that we need to prepare ourselves for in order to support agentic commerce. And really, this session, again, is going to be more discussion. We'll have a little bit of time to kind of review a bit of the scorecard and then again, discuss some of the results associated with that. Again, everyone should be able to use a microphone, but if you want to use a chat too, that's fine when we have some of our discussion and you want to have some input associated with that. And then again, we're not really looking to pick on anybody's individual scores. We're just kind of looking for some shared insights as to where are common areas that we want to focus on. How do we do that? Is anyone having success in particular areas? And you know, what are particular things that we've used to have success in those areas? And then again, our goal is really to identify some readiness gaps and to start to define practical next steps. We're not going to come out of here with you know, a 3-year plan on how to support agentic commerce, but you know, some practical gaps in areas that we may want to focus on next is kind of the goal. Okay, so the next are going to be discussions, but what I want to do is stop sharing this screen, and I want to share the scorecard because I believe probably everyone didn't get an opportunity to fill out the scorecard for themselves. So this is the time for everyone on the call. If you haven't had a chance to look at and fill out the scorecard, it's in the chat. You can export a copy for yourself so you can kind of write your scores down. But what we want to do is to kind of do some self-assessment. I think there's 10 sections, I think, Ron, that we're on here. I'm going to walk through real quick kind of these sections. I'm not going to read everything on here, but just kind of talk very high level about what these sections are. And then we'll get into some of our discussions. And basically the discussions are going to be looking at areas where we have our biggest strengths, and then areas where maybe we have our biggest opportunities. And what I'd like to do is just kind of discuss with the team on, do we see some commonalities there, and thinking about what are ways that we think we can close some of these gaps. And again, so I'll share starting off just so nobody feels bad. So it looks like there's 11 sections, not 10 sections, but 11 sections on here. My score was 32. So I was almost at the progressing, but I was on the last score of the foundational work required, and that's okay. You know, it's not about we need to be 100 score on these things, but it is about we need to be evaluating ourselves, and we need to be highlighting where our weaknesses are, and we need to be working on closing those gaps so that we can be ready for this. So let me walk through here. And again, I would invite Ingrid and Ron, because again, we collaborated on putting the scorecard together, to add any comments as we get into different sections of the scorecard here. And again, keep in mind this, what we talked about, the need for agentic, so on and so forth. These are now areas that we've kind of highlighted that should be supporting the ability for agents to then place orders on your site. So the first one here is product data quality and management. So you know, basically, how does an agent even know what you're selling is kind of the way to think about this. Again, with each of these, you'll have a score distribution. I'll let you read those and kind of do your score that's associated with that. Okay, the section 2, structured content discoverability and crawlability. So can AI systems discover, classify, and extract commerce content without guessing? So not just, you know, your product information, but, you know, as you can see in the comments, things like schema.org markup and attributes on that. Okay, the third section here was search and product discovery APIs. So basically, Can an agent search, filter, and navigate your catalog? So not just see the catalog, but be able to see, as an example for myself in the printing space, which are the multifunction products and which ones are color versus monochrome and so on and so forth. Again, depending on your catalog, it may be sizes, it may be colors, it may be those sorts of things that would be easily findable, searchable, filterable through the agent. Inventory and availability. So again, now we have the product data. Does it have inventory where things can be purchased, and how real time is this inventory? Again, how will the interfaces by which the agent can use accurately depict the inventory availability as, say multiple agents are putting into cart and placing orders and those sorts of things. All right, pricings, promotions, and entitlements. Again, for a lot of us, it's not just a catalog with a single price. You'll have promotional pricing for different customer types, or you may even have a B2B catalog where you have different pricings and entitlements based off of who the customer is who's logged in. So how does the agent know what the pricing is based off of the structure and information available? Checkout, payments, and transactions. Again, can we execute the transactions can the agent execute the transaction on behalf of those who have deployed that? And does it have the flexibility for the agent to be able to do that? I'll say maybe headless, right, through an API type interface. Order lifecycle and post-purchase. So beyond just placing the order, can it get updates on the order status that's associated with that? Things like returns and exchange, cancellations, are all those things operatable by the agent. Identity, accounts, and B2B complexity. So again, may not apply to every use case, but when you think about companies who are dealing with multiple B2B accounts, how can the agent correctly identify and act on behalf of a user within a particular organization? So having the role-based access and segmentation for those agents. Integration architecture. So these are things like App Builder on the commerce side of things. How easily can our commerce capabilities be accessed and extended? Again, some of us have very customized versions that may be very hard with this, and others, maybe it's fully composable and event driven. And, that's where we need to be moving. Okay, analytics, AI, and optimization readiness. So can you measure, learn, and optimize AI-driven interactions? To me, this is a really interesting one. I'm not even sure that I can do the first measure, what those AI interactions and interfaces are, but how do we determine which of the interactions that we have are these agents actually coming, and what are the results associated with those outcomes? Governance, compliance, and brand control. Again, keeping in mind that a lot of times these agents are going to represent your product, your catalog, your pricing, so on and so forth in a different interface. Do you have the things embedded to allow agents to represent your brand? Do they know how to represent your brand? Do you have clear guardrails and strong governance associated with that? Okay, so that's the scorecard. Let me stop sharing that. Any questions on different topics of the scorecard before we get into discussions around kind of our higher and lower scoring elements? All right, no questions. Let me get back to the presentation. And yeah, the recording will be on YouTube, and you can go to the commerce user groups for this session, and the YouTube recording link will be published there. Okay, so we've seen the scorecard. Hopefully everyone's had a chance. That's why I tried to slowly walk through the scorecard to think about their scores associated with that. Now that that is there, first, where were your strongest scores? So which category scored the highest? I'm actually going to have to look at mine to see which category scored the highest for us. All right, I had a couple that were at a 4. Maybe. One being search and product discoverability, and another being checkout, payments, and transactions on our side of things. Where did others have their highest scores?
Mine would have been in like section 8, around that area, around our products and our pricing. But that's all for logged in B2B users. So I instead of giving a 5 at some of those, I had to give a 1 because I'm not
Right.
sure that we have authentication for that, API work done on that, you know?
Yep. No, that's a good
So,
point. We have
yeah.
B2B stores, but as an example, I don't know how an agent would authenticate with our B2B stores, because we require a login from the account. So it's a good point.
Yep, that's where I would be. I mean, it's great if you're a B2C customer,
Yep.
but that inventory isn't live. The pricing is, but not really, you know? So
Yeah.
It'd be good if we knew how to log them in.
Yeah.
Mine is similar. I score higher on the API related, providing pricing, inventory, those kind of things. But I feel like I cheated a little bit. The question is, can an agent interact with your API and then get those kind of things? But if you change that to, do you have an agent that's working with the APIs right now seamlessly, all things considered, then I'll probably score everything 1 and lower. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's good to know. I see Michael too has product data, and I will say for me, it would have been a higher score, but we're in the middle of an integration with 2 big companies, and so right now it's a bit of a mess as we try to bring those 2 things together. But yeah, I think oftentimes just having your product data in a PIM system, as an example, and accessible through some good, well-structured APIs or REST interfaces, that kind of thing is a good starting point. Yeah. So for me, again, when we look at checkout and payment, robust APIs, multiple payment methods, scenarios. Again, we do not have a fully API driven checkout that an agent would be able to integrate with, but we do have a lot of flexibility there. And then the other, which was search and product discovery. So we are actually using Coveo as a search provider on our side of things. We do live search for catalog only, but for other marketing material, and it has a nice interface to be able to query and get a lot of the semantic information associated to products and such. So not a 5 yet there, but I felt like that was a strength of ours.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, anything that was related to product or search and discovery were among our higher ones, which kind of makes sense because it's things that are important to the customer as well.
Right.
So I got to get that right before I get it right for the agent.
Yeah, it's a bit more overlap with general SEO and
Mhm.
these sorts of things than some of these other categories are for sure.
That part is our weak point. We've been struggling with product data quality for years, and we still haven't figured out everything. We have tried several PIM systems, and I don't think we have fully. I mean, we do have connectors, but it's probably not running at its best. We still have product with terms that only our sales rep and our internal customers would understand, like using certain abbreviations.
Mm.
I feel like a lot of B2B customers have this kind of issue. So I'm glad to hear that people strong on that point, and I definitely want to learn how we can increase on that point on that part when we have this
Yeah,
kind of issue.
absolutely. And Ron, to make you feel better, I'm inheriting not just different PIM and so on and so forth, but 4 different commerce systems that we're having to now to integrate into just Adobe Commerce for different use cases. And again, it's the same company, but oh, you want to order a part, you're going to order from the Oracle store, and you want to order from Europe, oh, you're going to order from SoluSquare, and you want to order from Canada. Yeah, I think with a lot of kind of legacy companies, again, you just have infrastructure and architecture that is there, and oftentimes it's harder to take these things that have been there for a long time and everything else and adapt them to some of these newer elements. So you're not alone for sure. Okay, true strength or simply the least difficult area. For me, I actually felt like it is probably more of strengths. Like we have good products in these areas, and we have integration in these areas that are our strengths. Um, Again, some of our threes are probably just because they're overlap with other channels, like was mentioned with product catalog as an example. Like, well, we have to have a catalog for multiple different reasons with content syndication and these sorts of things. So that's probably least difficult. But I do think the couple that we're doing the best in are probably because we have better processes, better architecture, and more kind of thought and frankly just effort into those areas. Anyone else in just other comments about where your strengths are in the scorecard?
Yeah, I would just echo back on this point. Yes, it's a true strength, and that's mostly because we designed that part very well, thought of everything, and had a very good design architecture in place to support that. So it just worked out naturally, regardless of traditional e-commerce or in the future agentic use case. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. All right. So where are we least ready? So I had several lower scoring things. My lowest one, though, was in the governance, compliance, and brand control section. So, yeah, we have like a brand website and blah 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 blah, but we don't really have a governance model in place. We don't have policies in place. That agents would be able to pick up and know and understand and be able to then represent in different channels. So this is definitely one where, in my conversations with Adobe account managers and whatnot, where I'm trying to understand what's their roadmap and what can we use from them to be able to help, provide some of those things to control some of the AI interactions. But that's my lowest. And then for me, the second lowest is inventory and availability accuracy. And it really just has to do with our fulfillment models. We're using shared service centers. And so we're not able to get like real time inventory. It generally isn't a problem because we actually ship from distribution partners, and they have most of the time lots of parts available for a particular part number. But where it really becomes a problem is that we do have some low running SKUs. And again, since it is shared inventory, it may be that, oh, yeah, we had an inventory feed here, but that got picked up and shipped to somebody else earlier in the day, and we haven't got a feed update associated with that. I don't know, even though it's a low score, again, we have pretty high inventory availability. So yes, it's an area that I certainly know our team needs to work on. I don't know though that it's a huge impact to agentic purchasing, because I think they would see we have good available inventory availability on most of our product, but definitely an area that we need to improve on. So what about everybody else? What are your lower areas of scoring?
My
Well,
low.
as I-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. As I mentioned, the product data is our pain point in the lowest score area. Definitely look forward to seeing that improve, because I believe that is the foundation of AI agent.
Yeah.
As it's garbage in, garbage out. You don't expect to have like a swing a magic wand with AI to make everything works good out of a sudden. So.
Yeah, Brian, there, I feel like we're at a bit of an advantage because we are a manufacturer, and so we use our PLM system that goes to manufacturing processes and everything else as the basis for what we feed into our product information management system. So I don't know if there's similar type things that can be done there, but that's where we've kind of evolved to is the data that comes from the manufacturing process, where we have to do recall information and all that other kind of stuff, becomes the foundation of, okay, which products are made where, and what accessories and supplies in our cases are related to those products, and what countries can they be sold at, all that sort of thing. So again, but a little bit different as a manufacturer than other people are in, reselling goods and such. Ingrid, what about you?
Mine would be in the order life cycle and the post-purchase. We don't have any of that automated, so they can't get their tracking numbers or that kind of things. And this would confuse me too, because of the logged in B2B issue.
Yeah.
What really is going to be happening there?
Yeah, I think that overall is a good question again for like the Adobe crew on how do we enable agents in a B2B type environment, right?
Yeah, I mean, because we don't want certain pricing for certain B2B customers across all. We don't want them to discover that, and they're, so that's a whole conundrum, I think.
For sure. Michael?
Yeah, for sure. So I can, we're also B2B. So, there's definitely that authentication, like how are we like letting the agent see the correct price? We do have different pricing tiers that are pretty wildly varied across our like purchasing tiers. And I think like once we actually get into like real agentic purchasing, when we're looking at, we do rugs, so it's much more subjective and much less like specification based than some more industrial products. But if once we actually get into real AI like procurement, and they are looking at what's my best price on this specific SKU across multiple vendors, that's going to be key. And I'll be interested to see how Adobe is going to help us solve those for sure. I was going to say our lowest was going to be checkout, just because we're on pass. So there may be some APIs, but we're really not ready for any kind of agentic purchasing. I thought that was our lowest, but then I looked at post-purchase, and Ingrid, similar to your situation, we have nothing in place on our site for post-purchase aside from tracking numbers. Like we do have, FedEx tracking for our LTL carriers that do allow us to track. Like we can track those shipments, but we don't even have business processes in place to automate returns or anything like that. And it's something we've tried to bring up and keep getting shot down. So organizational alignment is a big thing there. So yeah, I think that's probably our lowest.
Yeah, agreed. That was eye-opening to be our lowest as well. And both for agentic and for customers, really, we don't have, so we're commercial office furniture, so it's larger products that are hard to return. So in general, we discourage returns and want a real customer or a real customer service agent to walk you through kind of the options there. But we also have a decent number of orders that come through with a last mile carrier for inside delivery. And so that's all scheduled directly with the customer. And so none of that really would be at this current state, how we have it available to an agent.
All right.
Yeah, we've been working through a lot of those same issues just in our transition to like digital first and trying to make a self-service experience, and it's definitely tricky. We do rugs, so we do lots of LTL shipments as well, and yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. So share your pain on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A lot of similarities in this area, for sure. All right. There it is. Okay, so thinking of, again, there's 11 different areas here. We're doing good in some, we're not doing as well in others. Thinking about realistic improvements tied to, it can be your lowest or one of the lowest scoring areas. Thinking of actions that are specific, small enough where we can actually make some, example in there. And again, we have some examples in here as far as cleaning up specific sets of product attributes, or improving inventory, refresh timing, so on and so forth. Won't read all of those. For us, frankly, I think the next 30 days, it has to do a little bit more with research and conversations. So as we've been talking about, as an example with the B2B authentication, I'm not sure what to do there. So part of this is I'm going to be talking to others in the community, to Adobe, to some of the system implementer partners that we have on what is the solution, to the B2B authentication with an agentic solution. And then the other for us, again, is this whole governance piece. And again, I know that there are some good elements in the Adobe stack associated with that. We've done nothing, though, to define our governance elements there. So I think that's another one where, learning more about that and starting to get some definition in the governance and compliance, brand control side of agentics, are kind of the two things that, but again, I have a lot of areas. I had no 5s, only a couple 4s. So there's a lot of areas we have to work through, but I think, again, just like most of our work, trying to take in one bite at a time, I think those are my first priorities of things that we'll be working on.
Have you done any research and discovery on the customer side to learn which part will make the most impact for customers? And are they willing to or open to the agentic approach?
Yeah, personally, I've done some research, but I haven't talked to like our customers on this yet. And that probably is a good next step, is to reach out to our current customer base and kind of ask them where they are at with agentic purchasing and what's important to them out of those things. Some of these things are internal where we wouldn't necessarily ask them, but definitely some of those items here would be important to understand from their perspective. So I heard a lot of gaps, as an example, on the post-purchase side of things. How important is that to your audience, right? Because an audience buying, I don't know, staplers and pens, maybe that's much more important than someone buying, large-scale rugs, as an example. So I have not, Ron, but I think that's a great next step as well, is to kind of think about our current audience and thinking about what questions would be pertinent to ask them about their intention of agentic purchase solutions. What about others? What are maybe some, again, it doesn't have to be 30 days. This could be a 60 or 90 day kind of things, but which kind of your next steps of what you're thinking of?
Yeah, I would shoot for 120 days. Yeah, I'll be coming from technical perspective. This might be a bit different than most people in this channel in the business leadership perspective. But I've been talking with our team recently about this AI. Now we are in this era that everything changes so fast, and we should adapt. But the thing is, we still have to deal with our existing structure, culture, workflow, and it's not easy to move things forward every single time. I mean, not every time. Like we have, like we value the security and the data privacy, safety a lot, which is a very good thing, which is something we should do. And we defined the AI models and the practice we should follow, which is great. But it also, same time, limited us on what we can do inside the box. So I don't think we can do anything in 30 days. We cannot achieve anything. But all I can do is to preach, is to influence, and hopefully that I can get some related task tickets booked into our ticketing system and get them approved in the next 80 days. And that would be a great achievement for me.
Yep. No, good point. And again, it is small steps, right? You're not going to bite everything off at the same time. Taking some small steps and getting the start on that. Anybody else?
Yeah, Mike, I was saying I think I'm going to try to. We just moved over to live search, so I'm going to try and expose some search endpoints and get them added to our LLMS file. Seems like an easy win. Does not come anywhere close to our worst scoring areas, though. The checkout and the returns is going to be, there's like a lot of organizational stuff in addition to technology side.
Yeah,
we're going to double down on product data. That's something that we've been going through a PIM cleanup and working on automating all of those flows for the last couple of years, and we're actually really close to being in a really good place on that. So just doubling down and getting that over the finish line, I think, will be the concurrent first step.
Michael, did you say you were going to maintain the LLM text file holding the product data?
No, so we do have like schema.org product schema on each of our PDPs, but we have just a basic LLMS text file on the root of the website, and so the idea would be if we can set up search API endpoints to include the connection details there in the LLMS file for easy access.
All right. Yes. Yeah. That's the thing that Shopify had just done, that they changed to hold setmap in the LLMS text file to hosting their AI agentic endpoints.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So you've just done that?
No, Shopify had previously provided the file to all the merchants in that file holding product content, but recently they switched gear to update to using that file to host endpoint instead of content.
Got it. That makes sense.
All right. No, thanks for sharing, Michael. I know we just have a few minutes left. Anybody else have anything to share? Otherwise, I'll start to wrap it up here. All right. I would encourage everyone for our next sessions. We are working with Adobe because our most popular topic has been Commerce Cloud as a cloud service, as well as Commerce Optimizer. So Adobe is working to do a cross user group session on these topics with some of the Adobe Professional Service team. I have some ideas down here below, things like App Builder, SEO, GEO, AEO, commerce performance, so on and so forth. But if you can take some time, doesn't have to be right now, but grab that URL from the QR code and let us know what you're interested in. We'll form kind of the next discussion based off of those interests. We would appreciate it. I'll leave that up just a few seconds longer for anybody who wants to grab it. And then I'll end with, there is going to be a survey that you'll get on this. Again, love your feedback. Let us know what worked, what needs to be improved, so that we can continue to improve future sessions. Tentatively scheduled, I know we had to move this one a little bit because of some conflicts, but August 26th will be our next meeting. We do have a Slack channel and a LinkedIn group here. And then here's the communication that you can get to Ingrid, Ryan, or myself. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Appreciate everyone's attendance. Like we said, this will be recorded and posted if you're interested or didn't want to share it with people or didn't get to attend the whole thing. So thanks, everyone. Appreciate your participation.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for all of this info and putting this together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys.